y'all. We're back. We're picking up in part two of ways to get closer to God on reading and meditating on Scripture. My storage went out. I was cooking. You got 5 minutes. So you got 5 minutes for part one. We're going to get this second part out, okay? Now, so the last thing I left off on was talking about Psalms 119, 105. You know, we got to stay patient. We got to stay patient on the Lord, right? The word. No, it was Psalm 77, right? It was. Let's go back to that real quick. Psalm 77, verse 19, which says, "Your way went through the sea, and your path through the vast water, but your footprints were left unseen." He's always working, y'all. When you think he's not working, that's when the enemy is trying to get you to think, right? The enemy wants you to think that. It's like, oh, that prayer didn't get answered. That didn't happen, right? That didn't happen in your life, right? No, he's always working. His footprints are left unseen. You got to trust and have the faith to believe in that, right? And you wouldn't know that if you don't read Scripture. That's why it's so big, y'all. Like this, you're missing valuable information if you don't read Scripture, right? That's why the second time reading stuff is like huge, like for me right now. It's like you gain more knowledge as you're reading, right? Especially if you got to stay consistent too. You can't just read one day out of the week and think everything's good, or 2 days or 3 days. You really need at least 4 days. My preference, you need to be in the Word every day, right? You need to be in the Word every day. That is the best way to establish a growth in their relationship with God if you're in Scripture every single day, you know. And so another thing I wanted to mention about Scriptures. Let's go to 2 Timothy 3 verse 16, right? Which says here, "All Scripture is inspired by God and is profitable for teaching, for rebuking, for correcting, for training in righteousness, so that the man of God may be complete, equipped for every good work." Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? All Scripture is inspired by God, right? And it's profitable for teaching. Teaching, y'all. He's teaching his ways of what we need to do in this life, right? The struggles that we have in this Christian life, we want to understand if we don't read Scriptures, right? He's teaching the ways of how we can get through this, right? With him, right? For rebuking the sins that we have committed, right? We're turning and repenting from those sins, right? The fleshly desires that we've been talking about in Galatians, right? We wouldn't know